Okay, it's on. Hello, everybody. Happy Veterans Day. And I'm playing Hungarian music. That's kind of ironic, isn't it? I'm so grateful that you were all here with me. Out of all the places you could be in, it's a school night and it's close to bedtime, for me included. But I'm so excited to share this journey with you. I'm exploring Central and Eastern European influences in my recital. So the next recital will be klezmer, then the following recital will be a combination of Hungarian and klezmer, and maybe some other influences is there. So what you just heard, I hope there were enough programs for everyone. This is a piece called Hubay, which translates to Pretty Katie, even though the tune it is based on is not actually called Pretty Katie. But I found the tune. AI did not. It was incorrect. So I was very proud of myself that I found this piece with just some research and some lucky digging in a Hungarian fiddle book. But this piece was one of 14 in a collection written by Hubay, a violinist and teacher, and he wrote these pieces more for like pedagogical purposes and performance purposes for students and himself. And they kind of represent more of the popular kind of stylized version of like urban Hungarian and folk music. So you can hear the pizzazz, you can hear all the fun trills and all the fun techniques. Definitely works up a sweat. But I'm actually going to show you a little bit of the original tunes it's based on. So the first one, the term comes from "There Aren't Enough Stars in the Sky." That's the original name of the folk song. I will not try and say it in Hungarian. And it amounts to a woman talking about how she loves this person so much there aren't enough stars in the sky to describe it. And then, but she's also blaming herself because he's an unfaithful person and she feels like evil for having the capacity to love like that. And then in the fast section, the bum bum beep bum bum, it's actually from a Brahms Hungarian dance, his 21st Hungarian dance, which has been orchestrated. So I'm going to show you 2 quick clips of those and then we'll move on to the next piece. So that just to give you a little idea of where some of these tunes come from. It's amazing to see these influences and like not knowing, if you just heard this piece, I'm like, oh, this is really fine and dandy and very cute. But realizing, the context it was originally thought of. And the one thing with Brahms and other composers like Schubert and Haydn and Beethoven, the style hongrois was very popular, so kind of emanating the style of Hungarian folk music. But part of the reason I'm interested in this project is wondering where the folk music, is it actually folk music or is it the urban popular stuff that was often played frequently by Romany musicians? We often know them as gypsies, but the politically correct term is Romanis. They, adapted to many different audiences and could play a variety of tunes. So sometimes I wonder, are these actually folk tunes from rural areas or are they more of like the popular things you would hear in a bar or tavern? And fun fact, Csardas, which is the Hungarian dance, and Csarda, which this is the collection that the piece is from. Csarda means a bar or an inn. So scenes a la Csarda, so these probably were pieces or songs that you would have heard. So now moving to one of the quintessential Hungarian folk tunes is a verbunkos. We may have heard about this in music history class, but a verbunkos comes from the German term for recruitment. And it's basically a way, how military bands go across the US and recruit people to join the army? Well, this involved alcohol and going to the rural communities in Hungary, especially with the Austro-Hungarian Empire. And they ended up, giving a lot of booze to the people, being like, oh, this is a fun time, you get to serve your country, patriotic, prideful, woohoo, party. And then they realize the next morning, once they come to their senses, that they've signed up for service. So, but it ended up becoming a very essential component of Hungarian national identity, the verbunkos, and I think also with Hungary being in the center of Europe and always being targeted by, the Austro-Hungarians or the Austrian, the Habsburg Empire and the Ottoman Turks and the Mongols and a bunch of other people, always, it's a great location, of course, and it's a melting pot of culture as well, but I think, now Hungary, is esteemed for its music, and the verbukos is one of the lasting traditions that they really hold close, and I think you'll be able to hear why as well. I'm going to show you quickly a little bit of this original verbukos from the Hungariton record with folk instruments and folk musicians. I just want you to observe the differences between this romanticized version of the tune and the one that I found on YouTube, thankfully, and it was legitimate. And Nógrádi, that actually is just the region of Hungary where it's from. So a lot of these pieces have the same titles, verbukos, Csárdás, Nota, but they often are designated by different, regions and locations, and I will not try and pronounce them. So here is a bit of the Nógrádi. And of course you hear that amazing augmented second, which makes this music sound so epic and expressive. So I will not do much more talking, otherwise we'd be here all night, but here is Sándor Veress's Nógrádi verbukos.